Well, thank you, Yomi. That definitely sets the scene for our discussion, and we have a very dynamic and vibrant panel here today in Abuja. I do know that the panel in Lagos will join us very soon, but I'm honored to introduce Honorable Nena Ukeje, who is a member. I hope I got that correctly.
Yes, you did.
Okay, thank you very much. Who's a member, Nigeria's House of Representatives, and she's been there for 3 terms.
Yes, I have.
You're welcome to Women in Leadership.
Thank you very much, Martha.
All to my immediate left is Esther Agbarakwe, who is beaming really proudly when Mrs. Amina Mohammed has been mentioned, because you work very closely with her.
Yes.
Currently, she's strategic advisor on communication to the Ministry of Environment. You're welcome to Women in Leadership.
Thank you very much.
To my very far right is Sarah Maka, who's country director for One Campaign. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
And of course, blessed are you among women. He is Ahmed Jaha Babawo, who is Commissioner, Borno State Ministry of Higher and Special Education. Sure. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Now, this year's theme, I mean, first of all, we've taken the title Women in Leadership, and I think the theme is Be Bold for Change. I think my very first question will be, and I'm going to ask you, Esther, who would you say is a woman leader?
First, I think a woman leader is someone who first believes in herself and who has the compassion and the understanding of what the issues are around her, from family to the society, because the role of women is so important, not just in terms of society, but at home too as well. So a woman leader is someone who lead with an example, lead from her actions, lead from her attitude, whether it's listening, whether it's teaching, whether it's legislative, whether it's in terms of policy formulation, but it has to be the example, so that other young people can look at them as a role model.
So interestingly, are we looking at role models in that sense, Sarah?
So I think it's a great question, who is a woman leader, and are we looking at role models? In my mind, the first question is who's a leader, right? And I think that there are lots of books written about leadership. A leader is someone who can drive other people towards an agenda, a beneficial agenda, I would add. I think that women have an interesting perspective to leadership because we're able to have under our cloak a lot of different arenas that we're leading. So there's the home life, there's the work professional life, and I think our socialization as women allows us to see broadly, to negotiate for others' behalf, and we do that so seamlessly. And I think bringing that into leadership is what makes a woman a good leader.
Well, I'm going, before I come to the most obvious example of a woman leader in this panel, I'm going to ask you, Mr. Babao,
yes, go ahead,
whether or not if you agree, and if that's how you also see who a woman leader is.
Yeah, a woman leader actually is the one who lead by example. Because if you lead by example, it will pose a serious challenge to the men folk. One. Secondly, if you are leading with focus, is by telling everybody that a woman can as well do it, just like the way men used to do it.
Are those concepts beginning to change?
Definitely.
From your perspective?
Yes, from my perspective, it's changing. Because if you look at Amina Mohammed today, we have been yearning for a reasonable position like this in the United Nations. We could not get it until today. Today, Amina Mohammed is almost the most powerful woman in the African region and the most powerful woman in the United Nations. So this is telling you that there is a reasonable change. People are beginning to understand women can as well do it, just the way men used to do it.
The very theme of Be Bold for Change, seems to suggest that women were timid before now. Is it something you agree with?
I don't agree with it. I think women have never really been timid. But of course, cultural, societal, the way we're institutionalized have made us appear weak. And therefore, I don't think we've been bold, but I just think that we're getting to the place where we're saying we need to change the narrative. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's because we have been weak. I just think it's because we allowed inadvertently the status quo to remain. And I think the theme Be Bold for Change means we need to step out of those stereotypes. I think the time has come for us to leave our hands to be the last hand in the room to come down. I think what we're saying is don't accept the narrative. Let's not just get to the place where it's okay for them to say leadership, and the first thing you think about is a man. You know, let's start to break those stereotypes. Let's start to change the mindset. Let's start to be out there. It was Madeleine Albright who said, now I've found, I didn't have a voice, but now I have a voice, I'm not going to be quiet. And I think that's what it is. The woman has always had a voice, but now we're starting to own that voice. And I think that's what the theme is about. Change the narrative, talk about it. Say we're just not going to let it carry on in the way that is. As we would say, pray until something happens, scream until something changes. Just keep saying it, and hopefully people are going to start to listen and change the mindset. I think, you know, the belief that it's all cultural. You know, Chimamanda Adichie said, if it's culture, culture is man-made. Change the culture. Don't just say it is cultural and therefore you know, let's change the language. Let's just, you know, add new words to the lexicon. Let's challenge the status quo, and I think that's what it's about. Women have done it. I mean, history in Nigeria is replete with all that. We talk about the Sawabas, we talk about Margaret Igbo's, and we say it over and over and over again. But we've dropped the ball, and we're saying, you know something, we're just going to take it and run with it. This time, it's not enough for it to be anecdotal. This time, we're actually going to do something about it.
Okay, it looks like we're heading somewhere, definitely. But would you say that we have a consensus on some of the things that we want to change? Esther?
Yes, I think we do. But I just wanted to chip in is that sometimes when women need to get the opportunity to take the ball and run with it. Because there's some point where, for example, Amina Mohammed, a man gave her the opportunity, the president, for her to change the environment sector. And she did it. She took it and ran with it. She changed the narrative of the environment sector. So the key path is giving the women the opportunity and for them to take it and be compassionate, take it, be honest with it, take it, and understand that there's a lot of work to do. You just can't just change things out of the blue. We need to be strategic in terms of changing it, because it's been happening. We have women who've done amazing work in the past, all the history, we have them, but something needs to change. But I think it have to be deliberate, not just change like that. So I think we need to do something, change the narrative, and I agree that there's a consensus that we should change something.
What is the consensus on?
Yes, the women can lead if they give them opportunity to lead. And we've seen that a lot.
I want to tell you why I asked this question. Now, we're looking at, I mean, it's very obvious. Women constitute roughly half the world's population. In Nigeria, they're about 49% of Nigeria's population. But for that 49%, you only have 4% of the population of women who are lawmakers, like yourself, a very endangered minority, because we saw that during the 2015 elections, their numbers dropped. 133, as a result of that, Nigeria ranks 133rd in the world for female representation. And then we only have about 11.7% of women on the board of companies, formal companies. I recall having a conversation with my colleague yesterday about Women's Day, and he said, you women want to take over everything. When are you going to stop? And I simply laughed and said, really, I mean, we haven't done anything just yet. Well, here in Channels, we're doing pretty okay. I can tell you that we have a very vibrant women's team who put this together, in fact. But are we agreed on what it is that we really want? When do we think that we will stop having, for instance, a day to celebrate women and raise issues that concern women? Would that day ever would you think that they will ever come?
You know, I think that the phrase, the glass ceiling, is 30 years old. And we've been trying to shatter the glass ceiling for 30 years. But, you know, how much progress have we actually made? We have made a lot of progress. And, you know, by the way, Malpe, it's not just a day set aside for women. November the 11th is set aside for the men as well. So they also have some challenges.
So they have their day.
Yes, they do, Malpe. And I found that out because they also have certain glass ceilings they want to... I think it's the base ceiling they're trying to break this time and catch up with the girls. I don't know what it is. But, you know, I think, Malpe, when you say that they create a space for you, you know, I'm inclined to disagree, because that's what this conversation is about. is about reinventing ourselves. And whatever space you find yourself, you make it possible for you not to be ignored. And I'll use you as an example, Malpe. You started the morning show, and all of a sudden, you're not on the morning show, and everybody's like, where's Malpe? Because you have created a niche for yourself.